What's up, everyone? It's been about 2 or 3 months since I did a review, and I think with this movie in particular, I'm really excited to review this one. So, probably wondering what I'm reviewing. It's, a couple days ago, I went and saw the adaptation of Stephen King's novel, It. And before I start this review, I want to say that I haven't read the novel, but I am really interested in reading it. People tell me it's fantastic, so it's definitely saved in for a later date type of thing. I don't know when I'll read it, but I'll get to it eventually. And second thing, I have seen the 1990 miniseries with Tim Curry, and for the most part, the perspective from the children was okay, but then once they did the adult thing, it just kind of all went to hell. But then again, even Tim Curry and the director hated the second part of the movie, more in particular the ending, but that's neither here nor there. So we're here to talk about the 2017 version of this movie. And right off the bat, I'm not even going to be around the bush. This movie was really good. Like, for someone who's never read the novel before, like, this movie was really creepy and really scary. And for that, how do I put this? When I first got into the movie, I basically, from the time I sat into the theater all the way to the time I got out, I felt very uneasy. Like, my heart rate went up a little bit. There were some chills going down my back a little bit. And I was just thinking to myself, wow, this movie is really doing its job to freak me out. Like, if movies like this, horror movies in particular, can make me feel uncomfortable and send a feeling down my spine just because of the sheer anticipation of the movie, then the movie's already done its job. It's already scaring me just by just anticipating the unknown, I guess. And to this movie's advantage, it definitely does that well. Like, all the scares in the movie feel very genuine, and none of them felt, I guess, really forced, because usually what has been the case in most horror films in the last 4 or 5 years or so is the fact that they'll just use what's called jump scares just as a way to cheapen the scare and just make it feel like it's real. When in reality, just jump scares are just a lame excuse for a scare. I mean, yeah, sure, I have no problem with one maybe spattered out throughout the movie here and there, but if jump scares are all your horror movie has to offer, then it's not scary. It's just lazy and cheap. So with it definitely avoided jump scares every second. I mean, yeah, there were a couple of jumps, and I did jump a little bit, but for the most part, this movie has a way of making you feel uneasy, and it has a way of making you feel uncomfortable thinking, wow, I'm watching something truly screwed up, and it definitely succeeded. As far as the character's concerned, I love these kids, man. Like, these kids, how do I say it? Like, these kids felt like kids that I grew up with when I was growing up. Like, honestly, watching this movie, I honestly felt like I was 12, 13 all over again. I mean, granted, they were probably a little bit younger in this movie, but for the most part, it was like kids that I were friends with. So it definitely struck a chord with me there. But the one thing I did like about the characters in this movie was that they were able to develop all of them, and the group of these kids are called the Losers Club. They're able to develop all of the characters of the Losers Club without one particular kid overshadowing the other. Like, they give each child a moment of time to shine, and by the time that they all team up to fight Pennywise towards the end of the movie, you all want them to get out okay, and you don't want any of them to die. So that's how strong this movie is. Like, really good character development, a really, really strong story, and also a really strong villain in Pennywise. Bill Skarsgård, pardon my French, but holy shit, dude. Like, no disrespect to Tim Curry, he's a fantastic actor, but Bill Skarsgård was just able to add an element of fear that I had never seen in most horror flicks before. I mean, yeah, in the original, Tim Curry basically played Pennywise like he was just basically a clown version of Freddy Krueger. But, okay, yeah, Bill Skarsgård kind of does the same thing, but here it's like he has a way of making you feel uneasy. And to give you an idea of how uneasy I felt after I saw this movie, I was watching a YouTube video and just a random ad for the movie popped up out of it. I watched the whole 10-second ad. The minute I saw it popped up, or Pennywise popped up, I got chills. Like, every time I even see previews for this movie, I still get chills just thinking about it. It's a really scary flick, guys. Like, I would definitely check this out. And something to preface on how this movie still kind of affects me a little bit. I want to say about one in the morning, I was walking home from a friend of mine's, and I had to go through my high school just to get to my house. Just didn't want to walk through the cemetery at 1:30 in the morning. Like, hell no. And as I was walking through the school, fog just started rolling in, and I just thought, okay, what the hell is this? And I was just looking around, like, making sure that nothing was going to pop out or whatever it was. I just got all those thoughts in my head of all those really creepy scenes, and I was just worrying, I really hope that Pennywise doesn't just pop out of the bushes out of nowhere. And, like, that's how much fear, or not much fear, that's how much, like, uncomfortableness that this movie put into me. And I know I probably sound like a baby saying that I'm paranoid just because fog rolled in at 1:30 in the morning. Yeah, well, when you get done seeing a movie like this, even though you know for a fact it's not real, the atmosphere of feeling that uncomfortable feeling was still there. And for that movie to do something like that, to still be scared even about 3 or 4 days after I saw it, it definitely succeeded in doing its job right. So overall, this movie had great characters, great story, really great direction. The movie was shot really, really well. And the final fight between the kids and Pennywise was just, oh god, yeah, it was definitely great. There is a sequel in the works, and the movie, from what the director says, it's going to be from the perspective of the adults, and I can't wait for that. So, the final rating of this movie, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm gonna give this movie a straight A. It's the best horror flick I've seen all year, even though I've only seen this and Annabelle Creation, so I've only seen 2 horror flicks. May not be saying a lot, but this movie was definitely one of the better adaptation movies for sure, coming from someone who's never even read the novel. So that was my review of Stephen King's It. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I haven't reviewed a movie in quite some time, but thankfully It brought that anticipation of wanting me to do this back again. So I've got some ideas brewing. I'm going to think of some couple of things, and you guys will definitely start seeing me around a lot more. So definitely go check out Stephen King's It. It's a solid A. Catch you crazy kids later.